let me show you how to build this immersive horizontal parallax scroll effect on both text and images. Let's break it down. First, come up into this menu, View, Sizing Preferences, and always show Advanced. Then let's turn on Advanced CSS Grid and divide our section into 2 rows. Set the first row to 100 viewport height and the second to 100 pixels, which will change a little bit later. Let's also add in a nice cream color as a background. Then on this top row, we'll add in a container, setting the height to 100 viewport height and width to max content. Come down here to the margins and set the left to 20 viewport width. And then we can create 6 columns in total, each with a width of 60 VW, and remove the background on those. That's most of the grid work done. So now let's add in some fun content and images. Make sure to first set the page overflow content to show, and then come into media, and for each column, we'll add in an image, and then center it horizontally and vertically. Once all of those are in, we can set the overflow on the page to hide. Finally, to make this all move, first set this container to position sticky 0% offset. In the second row, let's add in a container with a height of 300 VW and set our second row of 100 pixels on the section to max content. In the container we just set up, remove the background, then come into the animation tab and select a scroll effect with the animated element being our image container. We will then have a type of out and a move animation. Then we can just adjust the angle to move it left, have a distance of 82%, and across the full screen. Previewing this, it's looking really great so far, but now let's add some text to it. I'm going to add in another container with a width of 388 VW, height of 40 VH, and remove the background. Also, make sure to set the overflow content to hide and position to sticky to the top with a 60% offset, and move it behind the image container. Adding in the text, I'll change the font to Instrument Serif Regular and set the size and line height so that we get something that looks like this. Then to go ahead and animate this text, all we need to do is duplicate this container down here and set the height up to 388 VW. Then we can add in another scroll animation on the text container with a type out move, moving left, and a distance of 105 VW for the full area too. And it's the height of these containers down here that will control our scroll animations. Finally, I'll add in a logo to the top left and importantly set the position of that to pinned to the page. Here's what we have so far for desktops. Now let's go ahead and make it responsive. Switching over to tablet, first increase the width of our columns to about 75 VW, drop the left margin to 10 VW, and set the left margin of the text to -300 pixels. Bump up the size of the images to about 70% width. Then we can set the height of our text container up to 60 VH and width to 400 VW, and make sure to set the top offset down to 40%. Once done, I'll set the text size up a little larger. Then finally, let's come down to our image trigger and set it to a height of 450 VW, and the animation set the distance to 100%. Finally, switching over to mobile, first increase the size of our images to about 80%, and I'll set our text container width up to 530 VW. Then I'll set the text to be larger and change the color. And then finally, we can make the text trigger 530 VW and adjust that scroll effect to a distance of 340 VW. And with that, we end up with a fully responsive horizontal scrollable section perfect for any modern website. Want to see more of these? Check out another tutorial.